Hi, welcome back to SOHO Today. I'm your host, Mary Joan Schultheisz, and most of you already know SOHO. We stand for Small Office, Home Office. We're here for you as small business owners and entrepreneurs. And today we've got a really good topic. It's right around tax season for most of us, and we're going to be talking about the Higher Credit Act. And with us we have a returning guest, Richard Allen. Richard is a past president of the Independent Accountants Association of Illinois. He is a member of the National Society of Public Accountants and the National Association of Tax Professionals. Thanks for joining us again, Richard.
Oh, you're welcome.
So tell us, what is this higher credit?
It's a two-part act. It provides employers credit for hiring people that were unemployed for at least 60 days, beginning in February of 2010 through the end of 2010. They get a credit which is equal to the 6.2% of Social Security taxes that the employer pays on their quarterly payroll returns. In effect, that gives the employer free Social Security coverage to the employee. The employee still pays the normal Social Security tax, but the employer gets this credit which reduces his employment costs. And the requirement is that they have to certify that they've been unemployed for 60 days prior to hiring that date. There's a second part, which is a credit on the tax return of the employer for 2011 of up to $1,000, or that 6.2% of wages, whichever is smaller, if the employee is retained for 2011.
So you can hire somebody, they must have been unemployed. You have to keep them on your payroll for a certain amount of time.
Right.
And then does the employee see anything? Do they get to write anything off? Or
The employee doesn't get to write anything off, but they've been hired, and
Right.
so they're no longer unemployed,
Right.
which is a good thing.
Yes. So now you said it's a two-part thing. So this stretches back to the beginning of 2010. Here we are into 2011. Is there any way, if I, as a small business owner, I've already filed my returns, and now all of a sudden I can take advantage of this, what do I have to do?
They can always do an amended return. The process would be, first of all, to go back to the employee and get the employee to sign an affidavit. I think it is a W-11 form that the IRS provides, which is an affidavit the employee signs that says he has been unemployed for those 60 days prior to the hire. And then the employer can do amended quarterly payroll returns. The federal returns are 941 returns. An amended return is a 941X. Okay. And they can do that for 2010.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're here talking with Richard Allen about the Higher Credit Act. And we're also going to talk about that Form 1099 and find out what's going on with that. Stay right there. Welcome back to SOHO Today. I'm Mary Joan, and we're here with Richard Allen. We've been talking about the higher credit. Richard, how does this affect 2011 tax return?
It's slightly different on the 2011 tax return. The employer takes the credit not on the 941 payroll returns for 2011. They take it on their 2011 income tax return, which for a corporation would be 1120 or 1120S, or an employer who's self-employed would be their Schedule C to the 1040, and on the 1040 tax return they would take a credit, whatever return it happens to be. The credit is also available to nonprofit organizations who file an annual report with the IRS called a 990, and this is a refundable credit that they get because they pay no income tax, so the government will give them the money to reimburse them for a portion of their Social Security taxes for the people that they've retained in 2011 from this higher credit in 2010.
Now, even though we're about small businesses here, this higher credit is actually available to all businesses.
All businesses, yes, that have employees.
Right. So now let's move on to the Form 1099. There's been a lot of news about this lately. It was going to be a quite onerous thing for small business owners having to give out a form every year for everyone that they spent more than $600 with.
Well, it's more than that. They've had to do that for service providers.
Right.
in the past, and this was extended to anyone, and the exclusion for the service providers in the past was for corporations. Now somebody would, under the laws that were passed with the Health Care Act, was that they would extend it to everyone, including corporations. So that means somebody that, a contractor that's buying material, contracting material from a Home Depot or Lowe's, would have to give them a 1099 starting with 2012's tax year, calendar year.
But now, magically, we hope, it's being put to bed.
Yeah, there's been an act that was passed by both houses of Congress, and on April 6th of this year, 2011, it was given to the President for his signature. I checked the White House, their website, and they're asking for comments on this, but I assume it's going to be signed very quickly by the President.
Right. So the sooner the better for all of us small business owners. 1099, that one's being put to bed.
It's rolled back to the prior law.
Okay, that's what we all wanted, really.
Yes.
This is an entrepreneur and a small business owner. The less we have to put into that, the better. The higher credit is, if you don't know about that yet, we have more information on our website, but basically it's a two-part thing. It stretches back to the beginning of 2010. You hire someone who's been unemployed for 60 days, you get to take a credit. And just to reiterate, the credit is basically the Social Security up to $1,000.
Well, no, the credit for 2010 was the employer's portion of the Social Security tax. They match what they take from the employee.
Right.
And for 2010, those eligible employees, the employer basically pays nothing for that. The government reimburses them for what they are paying. But the employee still pays the normal Social Security tax. And then 2011, they get a credit on their tax return, and the maximum there is $1,000 per eligible employee.
And you can have an amended tax return if you've already done your taxes. So look into it. It's a great deal both for you, even your employee, as Richard pointed out previously, they are now employed. So it's a good thing for all of us. And I want to thank Richard for being our guest today. And thank you for tuning in to SOHO Today on SOHOtoday.net. This show and all of our previous shows are available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, free of charge to you. Tune in and look for new shows coming up soon. And we want to hear from you. Email us at info@sohotoday.net. We want to hear what topics interest you. And we also want to hear what your area of expertise is, because you never know. You could find yourself on SOHO.